Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the hidden stories behind corporate filings. And today we're diving deep into Arbutus Biopharma's latest quarterly report, specifically their 10Q filing for the period ending the 30th of September 2025. Now, this is a patient-focused company working on infectious diseases like Hepatitis B, but they are also heavily involved in a very public intellectual property battle with some big names in big pharma. So buckle up because this filing is packed with financial data, legal updates, and a look at their future strategy. Let's jump right into the numbers. As of the 30th of September 2025, Arbutus had total assets of about $97.7 million. That is down from around $131.7 million at the end of 2024. This decrease is mainly concentrated in their current assets, specifically cash and their investments in marketable securities. Their cash and cash equivalents dropped from $36.3 million to $22.4 million, and their marketable securities saw a similar decline. This indicates they've been using up their reserves, which is typical for a clinical stage company, but it is always good to keep an eye on. On the flip side, their total stockholders' equity also decreased from about $97.4 million at the end of 2024 to $77.4 million as of the 30th of September 2025. This is a pretty significant drop and largely driven by a net loss, which we'll get into soon. Looking at the income statement, the company reported a net loss for the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025 of about $7.7 million. For the 9-month period ending the 30th of September 2025, the net loss was even larger at nearly $30 million. This is a substantial amount, and it is important to note these losses are consistent with the previous year's results, showing a similar pattern of operating at a deficit. Now let's talk about revenue, where things get interesting. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, total revenue was $529,000. This is a decrease from $1.3 million in the same period last year. This drop comes mainly from lower license royalty revenue from their Onpatro drug sales, which is understandable as sales fluctuate. However, for the 9-month period, revenue saw a big jump to $13 million, up from $4.6 million in the prior year. The primary driver for this increase was the recognition of remaining deferred revenue, about $9.6 million, following the conclusion of their strategic partnership with Qilu Pharmaceutical Company Limited in June 2025. This means while one revenue stream decreased, another significant one was settled. It is like a financial seesaw. Now let's examine their expenses. Research and development expenses decreased significantly. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, they were about $5.8 million, down from $14.3 million in the same period last year. For the 9-month period, the decrease was even more pronounced, dropping from $45.2 million. This reduction is a direct result of the company streamlining its operations, deciding to stop discovery efforts, and significantly reducing its workforce starting in late 2024 and continuing into 2025. They are really focusing their resources on advancing their current Hepatitis B programs. And speaking of restructuring, the company incurred substantial restructuring costs. In the first quarter of 2025, they recorded a charge of $12.4 million, primarily related to workforce reductions, exiting their headquarters, and discontinuing in-house research. This is a clear sign they are undergoing a major organizational shift to cut costs and focus their strategy. But beyond the financial statements, Arbutus is also deeply involved in patent litigation. They are actively suing Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech for allegedly using their patented lipid nanoparticle, or LNP technology, in their COVID-19 vaccines. They believe this technology was critical for the success of these vaccines, and they are seeking compensation. This legal battle is far from over. For the Moderna lawsuit in the US, a trial date is set for March 2026, and in March 2025, they filed 5 new international lawsuits against Moderna covering multiple countries, and even expanding to include other Moderna products like RSV vaccines. It shows they are aggressively defending their intellectual property on a global scale. And it is not just Moderna. They also filed a lawsuit against Pfizer and BioNTech in April 2023. While the claim construction ruling in September 2025 is considered favorable to Arbutus, this legal front continues to be a significant part of their operations and potential future revenue. Now let's talk about liquidity and what this means for the company's ability to operate. As of the 30th of September 2025, Arbutus had about $93.7 million in cash and marketable securities. They had no outstanding debt. Management believes this is sufficient to fund operations for at least the next 12 months. However, the significant net losses and the decrease in cash reserves from the previous year due to operational changes and ongoing legal battles mean that securing additional funding in the future could be crucial, especially if their drug development programs require more capital. Looking at their strategy, Arbutus is clearly prioritizing its chronic hepatitis B programs imdusiran and AB-101. They are also continuing to lean on their LNP technology, which has generated significant interest and is the subject of their high-stakes patent litigation. The decision to cease discovery efforts and reduce workforce indicates a sharp focus on these core areas. Their lead hepatitis B candidate imdusiran has shown promising results in clinical trials, consistently reducing key viral markers and leading to functional cures in some patients. While the numbers presented are from smaller trials, they do suggest potential for a significant advancement in hepatitis B treatment. The combination therapy approach is where they see the most promise, aiming for a functional cure, rather than just managing the disease. Their other candidate, AB-101, an oral PD-L1 inhibitor, is also progressing through its phase 1 clinical trial, showing good tolerability and receptor occupancy. This drug is seen as a potential complement to imdusiran in future combination therapies. Now, for my take, Arbutus Biopharma is a company in transition. The significant restructuring and workforce reduction clearly signal a move towards greater operational efficiency and a laser focus on their most promising hepatitis B assets. Financially, they are burning cash as expected for a company at this stage, but the substantial drop in operating expenses is a positive sign for managing their burn rate. The real wildcard here remains their intellectual property litigation. The outcomes of the lawsuits against Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech could dramatically alter Arbutus's financial future, potentially bringing in significant revenue through settlements or damages. However, these are long and complex legal battles with no guaranteed outcome. Their strategy to focus on imdusiran and AB-101 for hepatitis B is sound given the clinical data, but the market challenges and competitive landscape for hepatitis B treatments are substantial. They need to continue showing strong progress in their clinical trials to attract further investment or potential partnerships. In conclusion, Arbutus Biopharma is a company with high potential rewards tied to both successful drug development and the outcome of its aggressive intellectual property defense. The financial numbers reflect a company cutting costs to survive and thrive while navigating these major strategic and legal fronts. Its future hinges on successful clinical outcomes and favorable legal rulings. Alright, that is our breakdown of Arbutus Biopharma's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord community linked in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.